All right, so this is my sort of final, after a couple weeks, review of the Light Phone 3. I've been using it for a week or two now. To tell you the capacity in which I've been using it, I have been using it on nights and weekends as my sort of intentional, in the moment, no distractions phone. I've been trying to test really every sort of feature about this phone, and to sort of keep this video nice and easy, it's going to be sort of like my overall review of the phone itself, some things that stick out to me, some things that are a hitch, a lot of things that I really love about this. If you'd like for me to make any more videos, more content about Light Phone 3 in the future, just let me know in the comments. If there's any app you want me to dive into deeply. Another thing I'd probably plan on doing is diving into the updated features once they roll out. For instance, once they get the fingerprint reader working, once they get a couple more apps and things like that working, I'd be happy to dive into those in the future. But today, again, general review of the biggest things that have stuck out to me, who I think it's for, and stuff like that. Before we dive in though, on this channel we talk about tech that marries form and function. We like tech that both improves our lives and looks good while doing so. So if that sounds cool to you, please consider subscribing and like this video for more. Right, so an app that's on the Light Phone is Notes, and I've actually been taking notes on the phone throughout the time that I've been using it. Anything that's popped out to me, anything that stuck out to me, anything that I loved, anything that felt unusual about using this device. And I'm actually, through the dashboard, able to look at those notes here on my computer. So we're going to roll through this in a few different sections. I would say overall, it's been an absolute delight to use. I know MKBHD just put out sort of like a review and thoughts about this device as a whole, and I think a lot of what he said was very true, and we'll get into that today. It's definitely not for someone just looking for another smartphone or like another phone. It's a very different experience. So with that said, let's dive into design and build quality. I mean, it's no doubt here this thing looks incredible. I think it's amazing. I think it is very fun to hold. I think it's the perfect size for your pocket. It's a little bit chunkier than a normal smartphone, but something about this form factor just is different and enjoyable to use. Just feels right in the hand. I mean, you have the metal around the outside here. You have this upper glass back here. You've got this matte screen, which is an interesting thing, sort of built into the phone. You do have this speaker grid here, which, by the way, the speakers are really loud, surprisingly so. And from what I can tell when you're listening to music actually comes out of the ear hole here as well as the bottom. So there might be some studio sound going on here. I'm not sure on that, but definitely sound coming out of both here. Something in terms of like build quality and form factor I didn't expect was your unlock button is up here at the top. And from what I can tell, you can't tap to wake, and none of these other buttons will work at all. Not even the flashlight button works until you have sort of woken up the phone with this top button here. That said, I have found the most comfortable way to unlock the phone is with my thumb. So you reach into your pocket, you pull it out like this, and you unlock it like this. I mean, I'm sure it's mostly intended to be done this way, but you can see like my thumb is kind of over the screen if I do it that way, or if I'm doing two hands. This is like a really nice way of doing it, and then you can move your hand down and go ahead and hit that menu button from there too. So you have this sort of like maneuverability around the phone, which is a little weird. It feels just really nice to use. It feels great in the hand. I will say something I didn't expect. This bottom plate here, I expected to be aluminum, and it's actually like a plastic. And I don't know, I'm sure the glass up here is for like antennas and stuff that are going on. Maybe this plastic area is too, but I kind of just wish this was aluminum, like the sides. It cuts down on weight and stuff like that, but I don't know, it feels strange that an area that you're touching a lot with the device is plastic, and I don't know if I love that or not. Many of you all will know the lock and unlock button has a fingerprint reader. It's not currently working. They haven't turned on that feature yet, so something to look forward to in the future. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't even know if I will use it because of just how dumb this, like there's nothing on here that I would not want anyone to see, if that makes sense. And even if, I mean, I know privacy is a huge thing for a lot of people. Okay, so don't get me wrong there, but I don't know, it's just like, especially with a dumb phone, like if someone else is picking this up, I want them to be able to get in here as quickly as possible. And I don't really think, I don't know, I'm not gonna lock it Maybe that's just a me thing, but that's not been a huge deal to me, the fingerprint reader. All right. That said, build quality is awesome, feels amazing. I have a lot of tech products that sort of brutalist, like modern, squared off, black, contrasty kind of design. I don't know the exact terminology for the design, but I love it, and this fits right in there. I will say it is pretty slippery. So I actually pulled this out of my pocket, dropped it right on concrete, got a few dings here, but like no shattering, which surprised me, and no scratches on the screen or on the back, which is also awesome. So it's a little tiny tank, which is cool, but I did order one of the cases, which should be coming in the mail any day now. And I would recommend, if you're picking one of these up, go ahead and get the case, especially since this is a heftier price point than you might think. And the cases are like 15 bucks off their website. So definitely doesn't break the bank to get the case at least. So I'm gonna slap on the black one and just keep this thing a little bit more protected. All right, let's talk about the display and the camera. So, I mean, everything on here is pretty much monochrome. Even the map itself is monochrome until you get to the album here when you're taking actual pictures. What I found is the photos, which maybe I'll put some of the photos up here in a second. The photos like on the device have a very like welcoming like vibrancy to them, like a poppy vibrancy, which isn't everyone's like vibe, but there's something just really nice about the colors that you can see on the device. Now, that goes away when you transfer these to your computer or your phone, which by the way, you can do it through USB-C, and you can even plug this into your iPhone or other phone with USB-C and transfer photos from this phone to that one, and the iPhone will charge this phone, which is interesting, or at least this says it's being charged by the iPhone. But it's a really quick and easy way to get these off of this phone onto your iPhone if you're using a hybrid method, which is what I've been doing, or straight to your computer as well. If you open the image capture app on the Mac, it's a whole thing, but not too bad. I've really enjoyed just porting these right into the iPhone. That said, again, back to image quality and stuff. The pictures on here look amazing, but when you do transfer them over, they look really kind of washed out and not great. There is a certain film look to this, and there's no settings here with the camera button. What you get is what you get. There's no changing any contrast, colors, anything like that. You can change your exposure on here, turn the flash on and off, but that's about it. All that said, phone is slow, which we'll get into here in a little bit. Light with Light Phone 2 was like abysmally slow because of the e-ink, and I think it feels to me Light Phone has either intentionally in some places or just because of their software and hardware they're working with and reinventing the wheel in some ways here. There's a lot of slowness here that feels like it shouldn't have to be. Like the whole camera, you push and hold and wait till the full square shows up, then push and hold again, and then it takes a photo. It's quite a long process. Now, for those of you who enjoy taking photos like I do, it's kind of an interesting experience and you're forced to be in the moment a little bit longer. But on the flip side, I have kids and I love taking pictures of them in the moment, and they're sprinting all around. I miss the moment a lot of times. For someone aiming to make this device theirs, that's gonna be a hard change, having to slow things down to take photos. Again, if you're a photographer, you don't have kids and you're mostly taking like still life photos or architecture photos or pictures of sunsets or something, the slowness might be a good thing for you. But because the camera is kind of such a big feature to this phone, I did want to talk about it a little bit more than I probably usually would have. I like the photos. They do have an interesting look to them, a filmic look almost. I just kind of wish they would bring the same vibrancy that you see on the Light Phone screen to the actual images, like as I transfer them. But then I was thinking if they did that, then looking at them on here would be like extra vibrant and it would look kind of weird. So I don't know, it's a whole science, and I'm sure Light Phone is going to continue to sort of hone in on maybe what the images look like coming out of this and the processing, and hopefully that camera feature gets a little bit quicker. But who knows, it could also be Light nerfing the camera taking experience a little bit, slowing it down because of their whole vibe and what they're trying to accomplish with this device. All right, let's talk about user interface and typing. I think I've heard a lot of people talk about like parts of the phone have scrolliness to them. Other parts of the phone, like going through the menu here, does not. You know, there are like pages you're swiping through, which that doesn't matter to me. I don't know why people keep bringing that up. It doesn't matter. This is an OLED screen. It's very nice. I mean, the blacks are black that are turned off pixels, which is fantastic. I think it looks great in sunlight. I think it looks great inside. The whole user interface is this just monochrome black and white. Like I said, even the maps here, let's see if I can get that open. Even the maps here, black and white, which I think is kind of neat. I will say typing on light phone is still a very slow experience. There's not a lot of play in things as you're typing. I think one of the biggest problems that I had was there's no indicator if you're hitting the letter D or if I hit F or S or E or R or X. And because you're so concentrated on hitting the right key, you're looking at the keys and not what you're writing. And then you look up after a word or two and you spelled like 3 things wrong. And then you have to go in here and like hit or miss, push down and hold on a word that is underlined because it's spelled incorrectly, and then pick what you're actually trying to say here. And it's hard to get that hitbox as well. So I feel like they could definitely improve upon this keyboard. I think having like a hit indicator, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Maybe just like a box that pops up quickly around the letter as you touch it could be super minimal, or like a line above it or something so you know you're hitting it, just so you know as you're typing you're hitting the letters that you want to. Again, though, I don't know if it's all part of Light's design for typing to like take more time and be more intentional and slow you down and prevent you from writing a novel to your friend. Maybe they want you to write 3 words or be like, I don't feel like texting, it's too hard, I'm gonna call you instead. I don't know if that's part of what they're trying to do here or if they just need to work on their keyboard. I'm not entirely sure, but that's a little annoying. Again, it's something you have to get used to, and I think you'll get better at it, and like you understand how it works and how intentional you have to be when typing. I think this is a good point in this video to say, for you to use something like this, whether you're using it as like a second phone, like an intentional device where you put your smartphone away at the end of the day and use it, or if you're diving in fully, there's a big sort of like lifestyle change you have to go into when using this. It's not quick. It's not, I mean, I think it's fun, but it will get boring over time, and that's the point of the phone, but something you have to think about when you're getting a phone like this. Other than that, everything's quick and snappy. It's easy to set up, you know, a hotspot on this thing, stuff like that. But next we're gonna dive into features and functionality. And earlier I talked about the maps. I actually really like the maps. It's not as like fancy and cool as Google Maps and stuff, but like, I don't know, there's something charming about having to like type in your destination or type in Dairy Queen and then pick from a list of Dairy Queens. That's just kind of enjoyable. It takes more time. Again, if you're on the run with your kids and your wife's like, hurry, put in the address, like that's not happening here. But if you have the time, if you're able to take that and be intentional and slow with it, I think it's an enjoyable experience. I will say the navigation voice is kind of funny to me. It sounds like a bored Portlandian woman. And I don't mean to offend when I say that, but it's literally like, take the next left, drive straight for 400 miles. Like it's kind of a nice calming voice, but also like hilarious how bored the voice sounds. One thing that I missed was a weather app. I check the weather a lot, especially having kids. Can we go play after they get out of school today? What's the weather gonna be like tomorrow? Do I need to wear a jacket? What's the weather gonna be like in the next few minutes? There's just not weather on here. I think it would be easy enough for them to do. There's GPS, there's location tracking in certain ways on here. So weather seems easy enough. I hope they would work on that. I don't know that that's much of a distraction more than a tool, but I would love to see weather on here, even just a minimal like highs and lows and is it gonna rain kind of thing, but something. So another part in this sort of like features and functionality, a few things. First of all, to get into the phone, you have to unlock like this, then you have to push this button, and then it takes you to like your list of contacts. Now, first and foremost, this is a phone, so that makes a lot of sense, but I kind of wish like your last used app would be here instead of the phone, because now you're unclicking and you can hit the menu button to take you to the menu, but the fact that you are having to hit like 2 buttons to even get in the phone is a little confusing. And there is a feature for some apps where if I'm listening to music and then I go in and I text my friend Ben, if I click and hold the menu button, it will take me back to music, but it won't like if I come into calendar here and I'm looking at the calendar and then I go over here and I'm talking to Ben, it won't take me back to the calendar if you click and hold. And I think like a double click here on the menu button to take you to your previous app or something would be nice. The whole flashlight thing and the brightness of the UI thing here with the scrolly wheel is interesting. I mentioned it in my unboxing and first impressions that I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, it's strange to me that like there's a dedicated flashlight button and a dedicated brightness button. There seems to be, and I don't know this for sure, but it looks like there's ambient light sensors, so it can change on its own. I guess there's no like tool drawer or like swipe down for like brightness and stuff like that. So maybe it does have to be dedicated. I think it fits the whole light theme. You're playing with light in 2 different ways with this button, and maybe that's their idea, but I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if there would even be other functionality you'd want to use these things for. So who knows? Maybe they have plans to use this in other ways in the future, or maybe not. And I think either of those is okay, I guess. It's definitely fun to play with, especially the scrolly wheel. And then just, I don't know, it's nice having the flashlight there, I suppose. I find I hit it sometimes that I don't mean to, and then I put it in my pocket, and then I look like a 60, 70-year-old grandpa who leaves his flashlight on in his pocket because he has no idea. Which, by the way, I butt dialed my sister the other day on this too, and I think it's thanks to like this going in my pocket. It's not locked, and then it just like taps against my leg and then hits the call button. So that's a thing I experienced with this that I haven't on a phone since I had like flip phones and stuff like that. So that's interesting. But yeah, I think that's gonna kind of do it. I honestly have really enjoyed using it, and I have a video coming up later on this week about why I don't think you need a dumb phone, which is gonna be a really interesting one. And if you've been on the fence about like, what is this dumb phone stuff, or do I actually need a dumb phone? I want you to watch that one because I think you're gonna love it, and I think it's gonna put into perspective how to use this, or maybe use another device, which is what that video is all about. So make sure to subscribe for that video. It's gonna be a good one. I'm excited for it. Overall, I've really enjoyed using this. I mean, it looks fantastic. It's a joy to use. It's a different experience. It is slower. It is more intentional. If I see my kid doing something funny, I have to think differently about how I'm gonna capture that moment with them, with the camera. And call quality is great. I haven't had any dropped calls, any problems with messaging. I mean, there's a lot we can talk about with this device here. Buttons are very clicky and very nice, actually. Part of me wishes that it had wireless charging, but part of me doesn't really care. In fact, because I'm only using it nights and weekends, after the kids go to bed, I turn it off. And so I've been on the same battery charge for 3 days now, I think, and I'm at 41% because I only use it a couple hours and then I turn it off. So there's definitely a new way of living with technology if you start to use this, and there's a couple different use cases obviously you can use this for. But overall, it's been an absolute joy to use. I'm excited to keep using it. If you have any questions at all about the experience, ask me in the comments. If you have ideas for future videos for this, or if there's any apps you want me to really dive into here about the Light phone, maybe we could do a live stream or a Q&A. If you all ask all of your questions down below in the comments of this video, I'll come back with another video answering all of those questions specifically, if that would be helpful to you. No sponsor on this video. I bought the Light phone with my own money. I will say thanks to Light, the company, for sending it out a little bit early to me for review. You all seem to be enjoying the first video I made. It has over 50,000 views already, which is insane for my channel to have that many views that fast. So I really appreciate all the support. Thanks to everyone who's new on the channel because of the Light phone. Again, if you want more content around Light phone, dumb phones, e-ink devices, stuff like that, let me know. Otherwise, that's gonna do it for this video. If you'd like to pick up your Light phone, you can at the link down in the description. It will help the channel with an affiliate link down there, so I'd appreciate you forever. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing. Like this video for more. Watch this video next. I think you're gonna love it, and we'll see you all in the next one.